What are we likely to hear today? The divergent path that the UK government wants to take for goods versus services, I suppose, is one of the headlines.
That's right. They've already briefed on that. So we know that at the heart of this, as you said, there's this proposal to split off the treatment of goods and to keep trade flowing and to really solve the problem of the Irish border, crucially. And it's what businesses have been asking as well. It's effectively staying in the single market for goods and food, and then splitting off the treatment of services. That's about 80% of the UK economy. And what the government is saying is that's going to free us up to strike new trade deals in services around the world. Now, bear in mind that trade deals and services are rather rare things. They're kind of a new thing. Most trade deals cover goods, so maybe it's a little bit academic, but it does free up the regulatory side for what is the lion's share of the UK economy. Now, what we're going to get today is a lot more detail on all of this. Now, how is that actually going to work? What is going to be the specific treatment for financial services, crucially, such a big part of the UK economy? And then it's going to go through all the other different sectors and how those are going to be treated. What's the plan for telecoms, for broadcasting, for pharmaceuticals, for aviation, all of these other areas in which we're so enmeshed with Europe? We're going to lay out all of those things as well. So a lot of detail to come.
So we look for the sector breakdown. Manus.
Yeah, so, Dave, obviously, the European response, I mean, it varies from Leo Varadkar through to Barnier. I think Barnier's first response was, we will protect this single market, which is based on the indivisibility of what we call the four freedoms: people, goods, services and capital. So, I mean, to that extent, how do you think Europe is going to respond? Frosty or open arms? I mean, Merkel was moderately, I would say, moderately engaging and positive.
That's right. Well, you know, we've been hearing that a lot of the leaders around Europe are asking Mr. Barnier not to throw out this proposal straight away. Look, Europe sees how precarious Mrs. May's position is. They see that she is compromising a lot with this proposal. She's taking a big risk with her own party by moving Brexit to a far softer position, and you've seen that in the last few days with the big resignations. So they're not going to be minded, I think, to probably throw it out at the beginning. I think what we'll probably get is an acceptance that this is a starting point for negotiations. It's definitely problematic from the European side. It really does effectively split up access to the single market between services and goods. They're not going to like that. A lot of it is going to be down to the detail as well. To what extent is Britain prepared to accept the jurisdiction of the European highest court? What about immigration? Are there going to be any special allowances for Europeans in terms of freedom of movement? So a lot of that detail will be important, and I suspect we will get some muted welcome for actually having a plan. That's what Europe's been asking for a very long time, and then the real negotiations can begin.
And all of this assumes that Theresa May remains in post.
Yes.
Does that look like the most likely outcome at the moment?
Well, she's still there. You know, so many times we've sat around this table and talked about it being, you know, the precariousness of her position. If you look at the numbers, you know, and politics is often a game of, you know, who can count, who's got the numbers behind them. There are probably the numbers to challenge Mrs. May's leadership, but we probably expect not enough to unseat her in the Conservative Party. So what can the rebels really do? Do they really, when the Conservatives rebels look inside their souls, do they have it in them to bring down the government and force a general election which Jeremy Corbyn might win? That is the question. So far, she's really facing down the rebels in her party, and so far it's working.